Hello guys, it is Mojo here, and today we're doing a video MXGP Pro review. And it's just gonna be a commentary over basically talking about, you know, what good and bad about the game. So let's go and start out with what basically the game is. The game is a motocross video game with a arcade simulator kind of going for it. Let's go and get into the good. The good is the graphics. They are amazing for what they are. Probably best in the game for motocross right now. Nothing can top it. Nothing can even come close to it besides Monster Energy Supercross, which was Milestone's last game, and you would be, you'd think that the graphics would get better, which they have. Okay, next we have the bike selection. There's two strokes in the game, which is very fun. Most community members enjoy the two strokes, so that'll be good. Got 250s, 450s, 125s, and 252 strokes. You have Honda, Yamaha, Suzuki, Kawasaki, Husqvarna, and TM, which is most of the bikes you'd expect. Even TM, which is not even really most known manufacturer. Loading screens have improved since the last game, which is something nice and a nice little thing. So you don't have to wait as long to get into the games that you want. Compound. That is a really good feature of the game that has been added. The compound, you got a whole bunch of trails, enduro, almost enduro stuff. The motocross track, which is really good. Supercross track, which is alright. It's more like a hybrid between motocross and supercross. So yeah. Now we move on to the customization of the bike. You have a whole bunch of manufacturers, including FMF, Pro Circuit, and other stuff like that, as well as like Domino for grips and bigger manufacturers you'd expect. Let's go and move into the bad of the game. Just the whips. The whips are just terrible. The only way they say you can claim you have free whips, it's not even close to it. The way that you come off the jump face, it doesn't even look semi-realistic. You can't even change the way that you whip. You just keep whipping one way. If you really want the game for the whips, don't buy it. Go to MX vs ATV all out. That's going to be your best game for basically whips. The only way you can turn it, you can do 360. The whips are just totally unrealistic. The only way you can turn it out is the back end. That's the only thing you can control is the back end, how much you whip it out. It's just like, you have no style in your whips. If they really changed the style that you made your whips, I think that'd be a lot more people would come to the game because of the whips. Most people turn the game off just because of the whips, which you shouldn't. It's a good game, just needs some work. It's not really what you'd expect. Next is the pro physics. They're iffy, okay? One thing I like about them is when you overshoot or undershoot or case a jump, it throws you off, which should be good. But it almost feels like you're like on ice. Anytime you try and just give it a little bit too much gas around the corner, you're just gone, which is totally unrealistic. I have some background in motocross. I ride a 65 two-stroke, but you guys don't understand. It's like you never really get that much. You really have a lot more grip than what it seems in the pro physics. I know you guys can be like, oh, Moto, you only ride a 65, it's really not that much power. I know, but I haven't changed my tire in the last 2 years of riding that thing. And I know for a fact, doesn't matter how much you have on your bike, if you're good enough to ride it, it's like, how good you are in the game, it's like, it's pretty good. You're, a national rider. You'd think that someone would be able to, like, it's just weird. You definitely, the grip definitely needs to be turned up in the pro physics. Also, it's like when you turn too sharp, you get too much down. That's good. When it throws her off, when you get in a rut and you go down too much, that should be good. But then also, like sometimes I know in the first track it's called Quitar. If you go over a little spot where you go over a jump and you just have to hit, you have to slow down, but you hit one spot of the it's like you go from a single then to a table. If you hit the jump or the takeoff of the table, you automatically get thrown off, which is, it's a whole bunch of just meh. When they made it so that you can you fall off when you overshoot something, they overdid that a little bit. When you completely overthrow a jump like on WW Motocross Park, the big jump where you can almost do a 360 on it, yeah, you should fall off if you completely overjump that thing. But if you overjump it by like 10 feet, you shouldn't just be popped off the bike. Which, yeah, one thing that's totally unrealistic is if you lean forward, you can do the nosedive of life. That's what I call it, at least. Is if you nosedive, you can almost 90% of the time you'll be saved, and it's just like, that's kind of not realistic. Move on to the next thing. The gear. It's the same gear as MESX, with the exception of like 2 more like things from every class. You'd expect with the time that they have on their hands and how much money they have, you think, oh, they'd be able to add more graphics and, you know, like more gear. It's like, no, you don't. You get this almost the same gear. I really don't like it. They need to add a lot more gear, like from Fox and from Alpine Stars. Also, one thing I'd like to see them is you can have like factory gear. So, you know how Eli Tomac, right? He runs Alpine Stars, right? And he has all the sponsors on it. I'd like to see that. It's like, if you want to try and remake someone, it'd be cool to do that. You can't even do that anymore, though, which you never did in the first place, but I think that'd be cool. That'd be really cool if you could be like your favorite rider, have the gear, and actually, you know, it's actually gets me to the next thing. Is you don't have, it's like cut content. You don't have Motocross Donations, which that's going to be coming as a DLC. Now, and if you guys remember back to MXGP 2, you had that little like Arena Cross series, which was fun. Then you also had the MX or Donations, which was free. It's like that was a really good game. I think that'd be probably the best game for the time of the MXGP series. Just because there's like none of the content has been cut, you have all your full content there. Also, next thing is the multiplayer slash like guess contact, or when you hit someone. It almost feels like Forza, like a car game. When you hit someone, it really doesn't affect them, it just moves them a little bit. You need to be thrown off your bike when you hit someone going 20 miles an hour. It's a whole bunch. I understand it's an arcade game, but it just doesn't make sense that you get thrown off your bike, or you don't get thrown off your bike when you hit someone at 20 miles an hour. Well, you do get thrown off your bike when you get a little squirrely in the corner, like you're on ice. It just doesn't make sense to me. And especially in multiplayer, like, that's bad multiplayer. So, they really need to fix, like, how it works in multiplayer. They really need to fix, I guess, the issues with the connection. Like, it'll completely, if someone just taps you in multiplayer, you'll go down. I think there needs to be a difference between, like, they need to have, I don't know, they need to do something with multiplayer, because it's kind of hard, especially, like, when you're in pro physics and multiplayer and you're playing with someone, you can't even correct it because the lag is so much there. Going into ruts now, there's what ruts, honestly? The ruts don't even exist. It is better than Supercross, but the ruts, they call it, are now pre-made little things, right? They're just almost like inside berms. They're not ruts. They really need to take inspiration from, like, what could you say? MX Simulator or MX versus ATV All Out. They did really good systems with the ruts, right? The ruts, they just don't really make a good flow. It's like you have, especially in the rain, you'd think, oh, you get nice ruts in the rain. No, not really. It's just the same stinking thing all the time. The ruts really need to be reconsidered into the factor. No factory teams. It's like, really, you took that from MXGP3, right? And you don't have it anymore. It's like you're paying the same amount of money for a game. It's like they say the cut content. It's like, oh well, we took out, say Arena Cross or whatever it's called from MXGP2. It's like we took that out because now we have free whips and other stuff like pro physics. It's like taking that out doesn't justify taking out like MX Donations for, it doesn't justify taking that out just for a little bit more money. It's kind of becoming a cash grab game. I don't know, just the cut content, I really don't like it. What's my final verdict on the game? I think it's a good game. It just needs to be improved slightly. A little bit tweaks took out, you know. The graphics are great. If you want the next game in the series, I would buy it. But if you just come for whips, I don't buy it. It's not what the game is made for. If you guys really like this video, like my opinion, let me know in the comments section. Like the video, subscribe to me. See you guys in the next video. It's Mojo. See you later, guys.